friends. Welcome to the LeggLife podcast. My name is Adam.
My name is Sherry.
Sherry Beth, this is episode number
5.
I cannot believe. We are 5 episodes into this bad boy.
Yep.
Now, Sherry, we can't start a podcast, a vlog, anything like that without giving people an update on how you're doing.
Yeah.
I know that people who watch our vlogs know you've been dealing with some skin issues.
Yep.
And those have come back with a vengeance.
Yes, they have.
Give us a quick update on how you're doing.
I'm showing some improvement in a couple areas.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like some other areas are worse. So I don't really know. I don't know if the antibiotic is just kind of focusing on one area and then it'll move to the next, or yeah. But I am seeing some improvement, and I'm not in quite as much pain as I have been, so I'm taking it as a win.
That's definitely good. Less pain is good.
Mm-hmm.
Biopsy results hopefully in the next few days.
Hopefully, yeah.
Which will tell us more, what we
Yep.
need to know. You obviously have not been in the vlogs and won't be for the foreseeable future.
Right.
But the podcast is a little different story.
Podcast a different story. So honestly, I'm not in the vlogs because I'm incredibly vain, and I don't want everybody to see how awful I look, because it has just completely taken over all of my visible skin, my face, my neck, my arms, like everything. So I'm not comfortable showing my face, but I can talk.
You can show your voice.
I can show my voice.
I don't think that's vain at all. I don't think vain's the right word. I think that it's just one of those things. The reality is, like, I don't think any of us would want that.
Right.
Right? You're going through something hard, but you've been such a trooper. It's been pretty amazing to watch you go through this. I'm really proud of you. And gosh darn it, we're going to get through this together, aren't we?
We are, breakdowns and all.
Breakdowns and all. And Sherry, what we're talking about today is something that you and I talk about a lot.
A lot, yes.
We are talking about introverts and extroverts.
Yes.
Because you and I are different.
We are very, very different.
We are very, very different. Now, a lot of you guys will already know I am an extrovert.
What?
Shocking. Sherry Beth is an introvert.
Yes, I am.
And just to confirm that, we actually took a test as if we needed to take a test.
Well, it was just, to me, it was just sort of like an interest thing. Like, because there are introverts and extroverts and ambiverts who are both.
Yeah.
And so, I was a little bit curious to see if either one of us fell into the ambivert realm, and we did not.
We definitely did not. So I wanted to read, just kind of start off the bat, just kind of read a definition that it gave us for introverts and extroverts. I'll start with introverts. It says, you are an introvert, truly. This was what it told Sherry. You are an introvert, truly, which is very true. You desperately crave for friendship, but find it hard to make friends, much less maintain more than a couple of friendships at any given time. You're actually more rare of a personality type than extroverts and omniverts. That's interesting. People think of you as shy, weird, aloof, and maybe even judgmental. However, for those few who do break into that rock-hard shell of yours, they tend to be lifelong friends. You find it easy to have relationships with those people, but only if they continue the effort. Once a friend relies on you to maintain the friendship, it quickly downgrades into a mere acquaintance.
Yeah.
People have to make an extra effort to be your friend because of your social inactivity. You want to be social and love the thought of being social, but your fear of what people think and your inability to generate small talk leads you to not interact with others beyond necessity. You are the one who sits silently and keeps to themselves. You are always kind, friendly, and polite, but find social interaction tiring and downright nerve-wracking sometimes. You feel the most comfortable in situations and places where you can just blend in quietly, but still be a part of it all.
Yes, for sure.
Do you feel like, how accurate do you feel that is?
I felt like that was incredibly accurate.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So some of the things it was saying, once a friend relies on you to maintain the friendship, it quickly downgrades into a mere acquaintance. I think that's true. And it's not because I don't want to be people's friends. Some of it is that I don't feel like I am worthy of friends, I guess, which is weird.
Interesting.
And so if somebody is fully relying on me to maintain the friendship, there will not be a friendship.
Because you kind of
Because I won't be the one who reaches out constantly.
Well, you probably also take that. I mean, going back to what you just said, you probably almost take that as if they're not reaching out, then they don't want to be my friend, and I'm not worthy of friends, and so I'm not going to bother them.
Right, yeah.
Very interesting.
And where it's talking about wanting to still be a part of everything, but I'm perfectly fine just sort of sitting on the edge. Always, yes. Like,
Okay.
I will sit in a group of people and just listen to the conversation and very rarely feel like I need to add to it. Or very rarely feel like I have anything to add to it.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that a lot with you. I think that, and I've said this before on vlogs and I think maybe even on the podcast, that you're one of those people, and I've had other people tell me this about you, that the more they get to know you, the more they realize that when you speak up, they want to listen, because like you do it so rarely that when you actually speak up, it's because you have something to say.
Right, and because I've thought and thought and thought and figured out what I'm going to say.
Yep, that makes sense. So that is the introvert definition.
Yep.
Now let me read the extrovert definition.
Yes.
Let's see if we think this fits me. It says, you are an extrovert, but I bet you already knew that, didn't you? Kinda. You are the one who finds it extremely easy to make friends and meet new people. In fact, you love opportunities in which you could make new friends and connections. Your phone plan is the one where you always max out your data with the thousands of texts. And I feel personally attacked right now, just so we know, like personally attacked.
Which is funny because we literally just got the email from our phone carrier
That said,
like this week, like yesterday, that said you have reached 80% of your data.
yeah, I feel really attacked. You always max out your data with the thousands of texts and phone calls you make. People generally see you as the friendly, bubbly, outgoing type, though be careful because sometimes you can overdo it and appear annoying, obnoxious, or loud. 100%. You generally have a lot of friends with several best buds that you are always doing something fun. The thought of social events excites you, and you have no qualms with holding social functions. You may need to take some personal alone time in order to recharge before go-getting some more. You find it easy to volunteer and often put yourself before others. Your type is generally the only type that will make the effort to befriend introverts, though you will never understand them. Your outgoing personality will take you far in life, but be careful not to get involved in any drama. I don't think that's me at all. That doesn't describe me one bit.
So one of the things that says your type is generally the only type that will make the effort to befriend introverts. I saw a pin a while ago that said that introverts don't make friends, we get adopted by extroverts.
That is so true.
And so, like, we won't make the effort to, like, make friends. We wait for an extrovert to come to us and adopt us. So, it's just, like, that makes me laugh a lot. But it's also really true.
I want a t-shirt that says, I adopt introverts.
Yes.
Just like, or I collect introverts.
I
collect introverts. I do feel like that really describes me. That extrovert definition really describes me pretty well. Now, Sherry, let's talk a little bit about our relationship.
Yeah.
As me, a clear extrovert, you a clear introvert. Mm-hmm. How has that worked relationally for us?
I think for us, it's actually been okay. And I think honestly because you are an Enneagram 2.
Huh, okay.
So we obviously recharge very differently. Because I need to recharge with no people and you need to recharge with lots of people.
Right.
But also you being a 2, I think our relationship is a little more skewed toward me. Because you want to always make sure that I am getting recharged and that I'm okay. To the detriment of yourself.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
And so I have to be on the lookout to make sure that you're doing okay and that you're around enough people because you won't put yourself before me.
Okay.
Like ever.
Yeah, that makes sense. I could see that being true.
Yeah.
I think that in our relationship, it's been interesting because, and maybe all extrovert introvert relationships are like this, but I sort of am fascinated by you. Well, because I'm just like, what do you mean you don't want to go out? Like, what do you mean you don't want it? You know what I mean? It's just, It's so foreign to me that it's almost just like fascinating. Like, I want to know more. I'm like, that's why I talk about when I see you get lost in a book. I want that because that's so foreign to me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you just under a blanket with a book, just absolutely loving reading. And that's what you want. Like, you would rather spend time with book characters than actual people.
Yes.
And I'm just like, but there's people, let's go.
Right.
Right? Like,
right.
I'm Ariel all the way. Like, I want to be where the people are.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and you want to be where the people aren't.
Correct, yes.
Totally the opposite. So I think that it's worked well. I also think that you and I both, and we've had to learn this, and we're still learning this. Let me just actually even just say that now. This is an issue for us from time to time.
Yeah.
we haven't perfected this. There's still times that I get frustrated because we don't go out and do more. There's still times that Sherry gets frustrated because we go out and do too much.
Right. Like, honestly, so, I mean, before, COVID, I honestly felt like we were always busy. We were always out. We were never home. Like, I just never felt like I ever had time to recharge. And I needed time to recharge. And for him, he was always just like, we hardly ever go anywhere. Like, we don't do anything. But I think in my mind, and we've had this conversation that, for like Saturdays, sleeping in and not leaving the house until noon, but still going out and being busy is not relaxing to me. Like, that's not a restful day for me. That's a restful few hours, but that's not enough for me to recharge. And we've discovered that it takes me a lot longer to recharge than it does you.
Yeah, 100%. So,
like, you can kind of hang out with people for a few hours and you're good for a while. I can hang out with people for a few hours and I need a few days to recoup.
Yeah, if we have a Saturday and it's like, oh, the first half of the day was just like at home with books, just kind of, relaxing, introverting. But then like Saturday afternoon we have lunch with friends, and then Saturday night we go out to a movie. You feel like, man, we had a really busy Saturday.
Right.
And I'm just like, man, we didn't do anything on Saturday.
Right.
And so we do approach that differently. So it is still something that we are learning, that we are navigating. We are not perfect at this.
Right.
But I do think that we do a really good job of considering each other's introvertedness and extrovertedness. I think about even the way we plan vacations.
Yeah.
That there are things that I know to be true about Sherry as far as the amount of rest she needs. But there are also things that she knows to be true about me as far as the amount of things I want to do and need to do. Mm-hmm. And so when we're planning a trip, it's never like every single day is, okay, we got to go. Because I know that when we get on the airplane to come home, like, Sherry's dead.
Right.
And honestly didn't have a great time.
Right.
And so we have to plan in space and margin for her to be who she is.
Right.
But at the same time, every day can't be a beach day.
Right.
Because then I go crazy.
Yeah. And so the way that we have found to balance this is giving Adam the freedom to go wherever he wants. And so, like, there are days that I will just want to sit on the beach or sit in our Airbnb and read, and he wants to go out and do stuff. And so he goes out and does stuff. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
without me.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I love is that we have the freedom to do that kind of stuff.
Yep.
There are some nights that honestly it's like 1 a.m. and I need to go to Waffle House.
Right, and so he does.
And so I get the rental car and I drive to Waffle House, and Sherry's just like, why in God's name do you want to go to Waffle House? I'm like, there's people at Waffle House. Right. There's people, I need them.
I'm like, yeah, why do you want to go?
Exactly.
What is wrong with you?
Exactly. So I do think that we do a pretty good job of this. I do think that it's important if you are in a relationship, an introvert-extrovert relationship, to intentionally make sure you are deferring to the other person on a regular basis. One of the things that Sherry was just talking about was kind of how she recharges, right? How she renews. And we do that differently. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to make a podcast soon about kind of our rhythms of rest and of Sabbath and why that matters to us. And one of the things that we're going to touch on that, or we'll actually dive deep in that, but we'll touch on it now, is that as introverts and extroverts, we rest differently.
Right.
And so
our Sabbath has to look different.
Yeah, because if I, as an extrovert, make Sherry rest the way that I do, she dies of exhaustion. If she, as an introvert, makes me rest the way that she does, I die of boredom.
Right.
Right? And so we have to defer to the other and say, hey, I know that you need space right now, and so I want you to, she has to say to me, like, I think you should go to Target.
Right.
Right? Like, take the car, go to Target, walk around for 3 hours, buy random stuff, and when I come home, I'm recharged.
Right.
But at the same time, I also need to tell her, hey, I know we have plans tonight, and we were going to go do this, but I think we should cancel those plans, and you should just have, like, the night at home.
Right.
So you really do need to defer to the other person, I think, when you're talking about, like, rest and renewal.
Yep. And I think being able to read the other person too Adam is really good at this. So I do take a lot longer to recharge, and I need to recharge with no people around. And so when we do have a busy schedule and we're going places and we're doing things and still working 40 hours a week and, busy, he can tell when I am about to die.
Totally.
And so there's been a lot of times that he has just said, hey, I know that we have, this and this and this and this and this tomorrow. We're canceling all of it and you're taking the day and you're not leaving the house. And, you're going to stay in your jammies and you're going to drink your coffee and you're going to read your book and you're going to watch your movies because you need this. But then, on the flip side, I can see when Adam is just like going completely stir crazy, which we saw during quarantine.
Absolutely.
When we were kind of not allowed to go anywhere or do anything or see anyone, really within that first week, I saw him start to shrivel.
Totally.
And he got stir crazy and he gets kind of snippy when he's stir crazy. And it's, I just, so, regardless of rules and stuff, it was just kind of like, I need you to just go walk around Target. Or you need to just go for a drive and sing at the top of your lungs. Or you need to go be around other people, even if you can't be around other people.
Yeah, I drove so much, the first couple of weeks of quarantine, because it was a way for me to get out of the house, and I could still see other people. I was like, there's people in that car.
Right. I'm still kind of around other people.
There's people over there. Look at them. They're, hi friends. But that was me, the first couple weeks of quarantine, maybe the first month of quarantine.
Yeah.
I just went and drove.
Until we found the rhythm of you kind of being able to get out of the house and that kind of stuff. Yep.
So I agree. We did see, whereas you, when we started quarantine, you were just like, I've been praying my whole life for this.
Score! This is amazing! Wait, you mean I get to just stay home all the time? Wait, are you serious?
Sherry was like,
yes.
Sherry was like, how about we get an annual pandemic, right? Can we get that? Can we
we just keep this going forever and ever, amen? Not the pandemic part, but the staying at home all the time part. And so, I was thrilled when I had to move my office home. Yeah. And just be working from home. And I thrive, honestly, under that. I work better when I'm not surrounded by people.
And I just so miss people.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, give me people, please. Let me get back to the office, please.
Yep.
All right, Sherry. Next question. Mm-hmm. Do you think that society values one over the other, introvert or extrovert?
For sure.
Okay, talk about that.
I think that society values extroverts.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
The squeaky wheel gets the grease, and the louder you are, the more persistent you are, the more in people's face you are, the more valued you are. Yep. The more seen you are. Yep. And I think that, again, going back to Pinterest, I saw this thing that said, asking an introvert to open up is as rude as asking an extrovert to shut up.
It's very true.
Introverts don't want to open up to strangers. We will not open up to strangers, and being told constantly that we need to, and that it's the polite thing to do to open up and be extroverted all the time, is killing the introverts. Yep. And making us feel like we're not valued.
I think that I completely, everything you just said, 100% agree with. And even as an extrovert, I see that. And some of it is that as I've gotten to know you more, I watch in group settings where there's when I think of icebreaker questions, I'm like, oh God. You know what I mean? I'm like, Sherry's about to die.
Yes.
This is going to be horrible, because everything in society, it feels like, is geared toward extroverts.
Talk, and be around people all the time.
Communicate,
and
open
be
up,
social.
get to know each other. Yep. All that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And you're just like, yeah, no desire to do that.
Dying slow deaths.
Is small talk slow death to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's so hard. I have the hardest time just having a random conversation with a random person. I don't know what to say. I'm extremely awkward, and I'm just I don't know what to say. I have no words. And so, once I know somebody and I have something that I can talk to them about, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But just new people scare the tar out of me.
It's one of the things that I've appreciated watching about you. And my mind just goes to our meet and greets that we've done for LeggLife over on YouTube. There'll be a number of people there. And to me, like, I'm just like, yes, let's get everybody in a big group and just like, you know what I mean? Just like get to know everyone and talk, and it's going to be great. And where you really thrive is when you're able to kind of pair off with like one or two people, like those small, and you're able to actually connect with a person rather than connect with a group of people.
Yes.
Like,
and that's the only way that I can handle the meet and greets usually.
And because you have a desire, like you do love people, like
Yes.
you love people.
I do, one-on-one.
One-on-one, exactly.
Or in very small groups.
Totally.
Yep. So in large groups, I just have a really hard time conversing in large groups, because for me, I don't think that people actually get heard in large groups.
The loud people get heard.
The loud people get heard.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't feel like, and honestly, I don't necessarily feel like even the loud people are actually digging deep.
Oh no,
like
I totally agree.
I think that it's all surface, and I think that surface stuff to introverts is death.
Yep.
Like, we only ever want to go deep.
That makes sense.
We don't want people to assume that we want to go deep with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because, again, like asking an introvert to open up is really hard and really scary.
Yep.
But if we feel comfortable with somebody, that's all we want to do. I want to know your deepest thoughts, your deepest dreams. Like, I want to know all of that stuff about you. I don't care about what you thought of the weather today.
Yeah,
do not care.
I've seen that with you. Like, again, that's why I'm always so, like, not surprised, but when, I think I said this in one of our podcast episodes, like, when you, I don't know a better word, when you choose somebody, you know what I mean, to, like, be your friend. Like, when you actually are willing to, like, go to that place relationally with them, it's just like, whoa, holy crap. Like, it's happening. Like,
it doesn't
oh my gosh.
happen often, right?
It doesn't happen. It's like that. There's the YouTube videos of like this flower that blooms once every 5 years, and it's like you watch, you're like, oh my god, it's happening! Everybody gather around. It's like that's kind of how I feel when Sherry chooses a friend.
Right, but then also don't gather around because I don't like crowds.
That's right. Gather around from
Watch
a distance,
from a distance.
where she can't see you.
Right.
Like everybody hide, but still kind of watch.
Right.
That's really funny. Okay, Sherry. So let's talk a little bit about how this has worked out not so great in our relationship. Like introvert extrovert doesn't always.
It doesn't
end
always
well.
end well. And yeah, so I think we kind of touched on this. Like there was a season in our life where we literally had. We were both working full-time jobs, and we had activities going on 5 to 6 nights a week.
Every single week, year round.
And I don't think that I necessarily realized it at the time, but we made a decision to cut back. And so a lot of it was all good stuff. It was, small groups with church, and it was volunteering with college kids, and it was volunteering with, homeless initiative. And it was, it was all really good stuff.
Yeah.
But it was stuff every night of the week. And I think, so we had made the decision to cut out, I think, 3 of the, 5 or 6 nights of the things that we were doing.
Yep.
And on the other side of that, I realized how exhausted I was.
Yep.
And I don't think that I had realized, I was not allowing myself to recharge ever. Mm-hmm. Because then that one day a week where we didn't have anything, that's when we cleaned the house, and that's when we did the laundry, and that's when we did all the grocery shopping, and that's when,
It was still a full day.
It was still a full day of go, 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 and so I never had downtime.
Yeah, and I remember when we got rid of, half the things we were doing. Mm-hmm. Just kind of seeing you... I don't know a better word, almost like detox from activities and people.
Learn how to breathe.
Yeah, maybe that's a better way to put it. You just learned how to breathe because you were just so not you, we both were just so frantically going that here's what I'll say, even I as an extrovert was exhausted.
Right, it was even a lot for you.
100%. And so you must have been just dead.
Yes, I remember, again, I don't think I realized it in the middle of it, but kind of looking back, realizing I was drowning, and
Absolutely.
every once in a while I would get this tiny, tiny little breath of air and then I'd go back under. And it was not sustainable.
Yeah, so that's a season where it really worked poorly. And one of the things that we've done that's helped us, because in that season, we never intended to get there.
Right.
You know, it's just like you add one more good thing, you add one more good thing, you say yes to one more thing. And then you look at your calendar and you realize, where'd the last year go? Mm-hmm. Right? And so one of the things that we do now is check in often with each other. Hey, how are you doing? Like, how's this going?
Right.
Do we have too much on our plate? Are we doing too much? But then also have some foresight, because now one of the things that I know is that if we have a couple busy weeks, then what we need to do is like a weekend before that busy time and a weekend after that busy time, like we need to block that off for Sherry. You know, be intentional about, you know, this is my message to the extroverts. Extroverts, for the introverts in your life, when you know things are going to be crazy, build margin in going into it and coming out of it, because they're going to need the margin before to have the energy to get through it. And they're going to need the margin afterwards to have the time to recharge from it.
Right.
And so build that in. But yeah, I agree with you, Sherry. That was the time when it just didn't work. It was just so too much.
It was too much. And, you know, again, like, I don't think either one of us realized when we were in the middle of it. But
totally.
Now, we're really good about saying no to things. And part of it was just like, we were just saying yes to things because we were, you know, a young married couple with no kids. Like, what else do we have to do? And I think most people just assumed we had nothing else to do. And so, oh, well, you can just do this on Thursday nights. Oh, and we meet on Friday nights. Oh, and we meet Tuesday nights. Oh, but we're going to meet Wednesday nights. And so it was like, you know, I think of a lot of assumptions on everybody else's part as well, that we had nothing else to do.
Yep.
But us also not saying no to things.
Yeah, we didn't have healthy boundaries in that at all.
Right.
All right, Sherry, another question.
Okay.
What is... you're adorable. What is something, as an introvert, what is something you wish extroverts knew?
I think that people assume that we don't like people.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. I actually really like people. And there are, you know, like he has said, like, when I choose a person, I have chosen that person. And so, like, I love those people.
Yeah. And you would do, and
I would do anything for those people.
Yep, that's right.
It's just that circle is small.
Yeah.
And so it's not so much that I'm shy. It's not, although I am a little bit, but it's not so much that I hate people. That's just, it's just draining for me. Even my people, like my chosen tribe, can drain me.
How many people do you think you have in your chosen tribe? Like, when you think about the people that you are there in your life and have in that circle.
4 or 5, including you.
Including me? 4 or 5?
Yeah.
And that's probably is that about where you would want to be? Or do you be like, oh, I need to add people? Or are you like, boy, that's a lot?
I feel like I'm about capped out right now.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, one of those people is my sister, and I don't ever see her. Mm-hmm. Like, it's honestly just phone calls and text messages.
Yeah.
And she is one of my chosen people. But if I don't, like, it's not just seeing people in person. It's any interaction with people.
That's right.
That can drain me.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's, probably 4 or 5 in that circle.
I think you're right about, as an extrovert, it does come across sometimes as if it's like, boy, introverts just don't really like people much.
Right. But well, you're just kind of a...
Wow.
What
word did you almost use, Sherry Beth?
No, I don't know what word I paused because I don't know what word I'm trying to, like, use, but, like, kind of, you're like a hermit. Like, you really just don't like people.
The word I thought you were going to use, I was going to have to find the bleep button.
Oh, boy.
For podcasts. I wasn't sure how it was going to work.
Oh, okay. Well,
but good for you choosing hermit.
Hermit.
Yeah.
And so, and I don't think that's actually the case.
Yeah. That's really good. I think for me, when I think of, as an extrovert, something I wish introverts knew, I think sometimes it can come across, and I know you and I have talked a lot about this, as if I just chatter incessantly. Like, it's just like constant noise, constant talking.
Do you have to talk all the time? Are you talking to say something?
Yeah, exactly. But for me, that's one of the ways I process.
Right.
right? And so when you have something you're thinking about or processing or like just chewing on, like you do that silently in your head.
Mm-hmm.
I do that out loud. And it's not always so the words I'm saying out loud aren't even always what I'm processing in my head.
Yeah.
It's almost like the words are the fuel that lets my brain work.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I know that sounds weird, but sometimes when I'm just chattering and talking, like I'm actually processing something in my head. And I almost need to keep that fuel going to keep my brain going.
Right.
It's not just pointless noise, even though no doubt, like 90% of the time, it sounds like pointless noise.
Right.
There's been so many times in our marriage that I'll be in another room and I'll be thinking about something or like dwelling on something. And I'm like talking out loud to myself. And Sherry's just like, who are you talking to? I'm like, nobody.
Missy.
Missy.
I'm talking to Missy.
She's like, you don't even need me here to have a conversation. I'm like, I'm just thinking.
Right. Though we have had that conversation. Like, he doesn't even need me because he asks questions and then answers questions. And I'm just the soundboard, I guess. Like, he doesn't actually need me in the room. He's just going to chatter.
I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm being accused of things that are false.
Are you?
Nope, not one bit.
But I have to remember that is how he processes.
Yeah.
Like, he has to make noise in order to process. And so sometimes it drives me crazy, but I have to give him that space to make the noise and to chatter because he's working through something in his brain.
So as an introvert, I think that sometimes we can view the other side as weird, right? Like introverts view extroverts as weird. Extroverts view introverts as weird. Mm-hmm. But Sherry, let me ask you a question. What is something that you are thankful about or something that you have learned from extroverts? Like what's a positive thing as an introvert that extroverts have brought to your life?
I think how to converse with people.
Okay.
I'm 39 years old and I'm still super awkward at it. Like I don't feel like I'm great at conversing, especially in groups. And maybe that's just how I feel and it's not true, but
right.
like I feel like that. I just feel incredibly awkward. But watching you just be able to like bring up any topic and engage the entire group in that topic is fascinating to me. And I've learned kind of how to at least carry on a conversation.
Interesting.
Because of how you carry on conversations.
I don't think I knew that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think for me, one of the things that I've learned, it's been added to my life from introverts and probably specifically you, has been the gift of like silence and the gift of stillness. I used to think of stillness as something that would just drive me crazy, like just fidgety and just like, oh my God, I've got to do something. I've got to go. But now I was even thinking about how I relax now. My favorite way to relax are float tanks.
In complete quiet.
In complete quiet, complete silence, complete darkness, complete aloneness. There is something to me that honestly, 10 years ago, I think I would have been in a float tank for 4 minutes and gotten out because I was bored and fidgety. Right. You know? But I think that I'm learning how to appreciate that stillness. And what's interesting is that even though I'm still an extrovert, I still get life from people. I'm learning to appreciate like the breath of stillness. Whereas before, that was never the case.
Right.
And so that's something that I'm learning from you and other introverts. So that is something introverts have added to my life.
Oh, good.
So I think that's about where we're going to start wrapping up the introvert-extrovert discussion. Sherry Beth, any other thoughts before we kind of spike it home on this topic?
Yes, I think that it's incredibly important to have friends that are both.
Oh,
I think it would be easy for me to surround myself with only extroverts because I know that I won't ever have to talk.
Oh, yeah.
Or it'd be really easy for me to surround myself with introverts because I would know I never have to talk. And so I think it's important to have both. And I think that, being drawn into a conversation, even if I don't want to be drawn into the conversation, is good for me and actually makes me feel seen and valued when people do ask for my opinion or ask for like my input on a topic. I will rarely just give you my input or my opinion, but if you ask for it, it does make me feel seen and valued.
Okay.
And so I think that it's healthy to have both. I think that it's good to have people in your life that you can just sit in silence with. But I think it's good to have people who will make you speak occasionally.
I think that's really good insight, because in some ways you would want to surround yourself by what's most familiar and comfortable, right? It's like, I'm going to fill myself with people that are like me because that's familiar, that's comfortable. But at the same time, like, there's a beauty, I think, that comes with diversity.
Yep.
And my life is better because of introverts. Introverts help bring out an aspect or a facet of my life that exists but needs to be brought out.
Right.
You know, it's like, that's not naturally what I show. It's there, but like, I need others to shine a light on that area because I naturally don't drift that way.
Right, and vice versa. Like, I need the extroverts to pull me out of my shell once in a while.
Yep. Just not too often.
Just not too often.
That's exactly right. It's like, for introverts, like, why would I want to get out of my shell? I've made my shell very comfortable.
It's super comfy. It's warm. It's cozy. I have coffee.
And I'm just like, look at all the things outside of the shell.
I'm like, yeah, it's bright. It's not great.
I do think, I think that I'm really proud of us, the way that we have learned to navigate this, just relationally.
I think so, yeah.
It's gotten easier with time because we better understand each other. We know each other. Like you mentioned earlier, I know kind of some of your, I don't want to say triggers, but I can read you really well. And so I can tell when it's like, okay, we need to be done.
We need to go. She's reached her wall.
Yep. And you do the same thing with me. And so I think that that's come with time. And I'm really thankful that we understand our differences, but also that we celebrate our differences. There's been a lot of times that you have just told me, hey, why don't you go do this? Or, hey, why don't you go? I mean, even this coming weekend, right? Like, you're kind of challenging me that even though you're, home, sick, not feeling well, kind of stuff's going on, you're just like, hey, I need you to get out and I need you to go here.
Well, and I know that you being an Enneagram 2, you want to stay home and you want to take care of me.
Totally.
You want to be near in case I need anything.
Yeah, that's right.
But I also know that it's been a little while since you have been able to hang out with friends. And so I think that it's important, regardless of my health, I will be okay alone. And so it's important for you to go out and hang out with friends because you need that in your life.
And I think that's what a balance between Enneagram, or not Enneagram, introvert and extrovert really looks like. It is give and it is take. It is not all take. It is not all give. It's looking out for the needs of others, but it's also understanding the needs that you have, and being willing to just even be honest about that. There's been times that I've had to tell Sherry, you know what? Like, I need to go. Right? And there's been times that Sherry said, you know what? I need to not go. Right. And we both feel like we have the freedom to say that.
Yep.
Again, we don't do it perfect. We still butt heads on this kind of stuff from time to time.
Yeah.
Much less than we used to.
Much less than we used to, and like I said, kind of at the beginning, it's definitely skewed toward me. I feel like we do stay home a lot more than what you would prefer, because you just want to take care of me.
It's my Enneagram 2-ness.
I know, and so I have to remember that you have got to get out more than what we do, and so I just have to sometimes people, even if I don't want to.
Ew, people.
Correct.
Ew, people. So funny. All right, Sherry Beth. Well, we always end our podcast with 2 questions, and 2 extrovert questions. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Enneagram 2, they're both extroverted. It's fine.
I really apologize. And Sherry, those 2 questions are, who is someone that has been inspiring to you lately, or what is something that has been bringing you joy lately? So, which of those for you this week?
This was kind of hard for me. I've had a really, really rough week. And it's hard to find joy in the middle of misery.
Yeah.
But I didn't have to look very far because our community has been amazing through all of this. People texting or messaging, wanting updates, like, how are you doing? Just want to let you know that we're praying for you. Sending me Amazon gift cards, sending me flowers. Like, I have felt extremely loved and cared for in the midst of all of this awful.
Yeah.
And that to me is priceless. Like, that has been bringing me joy in the midst of misery.
I think my answer is exactly the same.
Yeah.
And partly because, again, it's been a hard week because I don't want to watch you like this, right? Like, I don't want to see you in this kind of pain. I don't want to see you.
And there's not anything you can really do.
No, they're like, there's no, like, I can't do, if there was anything I could do, I'd do it in a second.
Right.
But there's nothing I can do. But these, just like what Sherry said, we have received, you guys, with not even exaggerating, hundreds of messages.
Yep.
Of just, we're praying for you, or just words of comfort. Just, I mean, the most amazing response that you guys have given. And it's been just completely and totally overwhelming in the best possible way.
Yes.
And so I think what you said, Sherry, was perfect. That even in the middle of like misery, it sometimes can be hard to find joy. But this week we really didn't have to look far.
Right.
Like, you guys brought it to us in
Yeah.
a time that we like needed it. Mm-hmm. And so it's been truly spectacular.
It's been really amazing.
Yeah, so thank you, friends, for all of you who have been inspiring to us, for all of you who have been just givers of life and happiness and joy and kind words and prayers. Please keep the prayers going. Not out of the woods yet, are we, Sherry?
Not even close, no.
Not even close, but we hope that we're on the right track. And no matter how long it takes, we're going to get through this. I'm here by your side as your loud talking extrovert, bothering my introvert wife who's like, just let me sit here and read. I'm like, how are you? Do you need juice? What do you need? Do you need water? What do you need?
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
All right, friend.
You've been great.
Thank you so much. I've been trying to be great.
You have been.
Awesome. Friends, also, I want to say before we end this, over 1,000 listens.
That's crazy.
On our podcast so far.
I love that.
I love it so much. That's a huge milestone. Again, we're not podcasters. We're learning how this goes. We're learning what the heck we're doing.
Right.
And so many more of you guys have listened than we expected. And so thanks, you guys, for your response here to the LeggLife podcast. I'm having fun doing it. Sherry, you still having fun?
I am, yeah.
It really impressed me that even this week, as you're feeling like you are, not only did you want to do this, you're the one who took the initiative to like do all the research on this, to like come up with the topic on this and get this all together.
Find the quiz.
You crushed it, Sherry.
Thank you.
Good job.
It's not like I have anything else to do. I'm sitting in the living room, holding as still as possible because every movement hurts.
I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Well, we'll end this podcast so that I can go Enneagram to you and get you whatever you need.
Okay.
All right, friends. Thanks so much for listening. We love you guys so much, and we'll see you on the next LeggLife podcast.